Greetings, boils and ghouls. Welcome to Midnight Movie Massacre. So just the other day, I decided to show my buddy Manolo The Howling for the first time. It's pretty much required viewing for any fan of werewolf films. He'd never seen it. He's also on a quest to find a werewolf film from his childhood. Unfortunately, The Howling was not it, but we had a good time watching it nonetheless. It now occurs to me we're only 2 days out from the anniversary of its release on April 10th, 1981. Seems as good a time as any to drop a review for this absolute fucking beast of a movie. It was directed by Joe Dante, who many of you know as the director of Gremlins. It's based on The Howling by Gary Bradner, and it was distributed by Embassy Pictures. Got Dee Wallace from fucking Cujo up in here, Patrick McNee, Dennis Dugan, you got Robert Picardo from fucking Star Trek playing the main serial killer werewolf dude, and absolutely slaying it. Everything from the tone to the style to the special effects absolutely rules. Everybody on the cast puts in 110%, and it shows in the final product. Basic gist of The Howling is Dee Wallace plays like this TV reporter lady, and she's going in to interview this Eddie the Strangler dude, played by Robert Picardo, who they assume is just a serial killer going around and mutilating women. She meets him at a porno theater, turns out he's a fucking werewolf because, you know, Times Square, you find all sorts down there. Ends up traumatizing the shit out of her before he gets shot by the police. They assume he's dead, but of course he's not. In any case, she has to go out to like this sort of retreat in the woods that this psychiatrist friend of hers recommends so that she can kind of unwind and process this friggin' traumatic experience that she's been through. She goes out there with her husband, who is pretty overprotective and loyal for the most part until he gets infected with the werewolf curse and starts having sweaty, furry fucking sex out in the woods. Turns out that the colony out here, this fucking like retreat in the woods, is really just populated by a clan of werewolves. That's pretty much The Howling in a nutshell. Like I said, there's some werewolf sex in there, so there's some pretty tasty transformations. They of course end up discovering this, and you know, all hell fucking breaks loose at the end. Kind of on the side of this, her friend that was like an investigative reporter as well for the TV station or something like that is researching it with this other dude. She ends up getting murdered by Robert Picardo, and that brings this guy out to the retreat where he ends up rescuing Dee Wallace. They kill a bunch of fucking werewolves. Shit gets crazy. Other honorable mentions from the cast would be Slim Pickens in there as Sam Newfield, and you got Dick Miller as like the occult bookstore owner guy who helps the investigative reporter couple figure out some stuff about werewolves before she gets killed, and the dude has to steal his silver bullets and go rescue Dee Wallace. I do particularly enjoy the bit where after the sweaty werewolf sex in the woods by firelight, it shows them transform into full wolf form, but they do it in a sick way where they like animate on top of the actual film. Gives it a really cool quality. The transformation scene, I would say, rivals American Werewolf in London, although it is a bit long and drawn out to the point of almost being comical. It still looks really fucking cool. I'm not sure why they did that other than to extend the runtime of the transformation so that it could sort of match American Werewolf in London, because they do another transformation later and it happens a lot quicker and is just as convincing, so I don't know. We'll call it an artistic choice and one that Joe Dante maybe should have rethought a couple of times before going through with. It still looks amazing though. Outside of that, I have almost no gripes about The Howling. The story is perfectly told throughout the runtime of the movie. There's not a lot of unwarranted details in there. It's just, you know, she's sent out here to unwind. Turns out that the serial killer that like accosted her in the porno theater is a werewolf. Turns out all these motherfuckers are werewolves too. After her friend from the TV station rescues her, she ends up getting infected by her husband at the very last minute, and they decide that they're going to let the world know werewolves exist. So she transforms on live TV, he blows her away, and the fucking credits roll. Gotta give them a lot of credit for that ending too. It's pretty goddamn ambitious. They took what was a small sort of self-contained story and just blew it up on a national scale with that last scene of the film. Unfortunately, they did not capitalize on that at all, and outside of The Howling 2, most of the sequels are ass. Despite how I feel about The Howling overall as a franchise, this first movie is an absolute fucking banger and will always have a firm place in my top 3 werewolf movies of all time, the other 2 being American Werewolf in London and Silver Bullet. So if you're looking for a good werewolf marathon, I can't recommend that triple feature enough. Get out there and check them out, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. We'll see you back here next time.